So much being made of Shedeur Sanders' body language during that game yesterday. You seen that?
I didn't really watch any of that one. What was it?
He was just standing there looking like, when are you going to put me in the game,
arms
coach?
folded. Yeah.
Ready.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Well, he's the third string, so.
But it's just, what do you want him to do?
Everybody's a body language expert.
Guess what?
Yeah, that's
Let me ask you about
something for half a second, and you know everything.
What do you want him to do?
He wants to play.
Guess what? Guess what would be worse? What would be worse? Yucking it up? Would yucking it up be worse?
Yeah, imagine
if you're a body language police.
Yeah, not when you're down three scores.
Reading a cutaway
he's
of a
laughing,
camera.
giggling,
A camera
high-fiving.
cutaway,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. He's giggling it up while the Lions are spanking Flacco.
Spanking Flacco?
Spanking Flacco, by the way.
Well, that's like a ska band from the 90s.
No, actually what it was the original title of Chasing Amy.
That's pretty good, too. We get Kevin Smith on that?
Yeah, get Kevin Smith on Spanking Flacco. Pretty funny. What's a kid supposed to do?
Remember a few years ago,
seriously.
Remember the quarterback Derek Anderson, Chris?
Yeah, DA.
They were losing a game like 20.
So much has been made of Shedeur Sanders' body language on the Cleveland sideline. Cameras cut to him, standing there, helmet off, headset on, looking like he's saying with his eyes, "When are you going to put me in? I'm ready." And the internet lost its mind. Fans became body language experts overnight. Critics started tearing into him for not smiling, for not laughing, for not being a good teammate. But let me ask you something, what's he supposed to do? Giggle and crack jokes while Joe Flacco and the Browns are getting spanked by the Detroit Lions? That's the firestorm we're dealing with. One look, one camera angle, and suddenly the rookie quarterback who hasn't even gotten his first real chance is being dragged into headlines. But here's the truth, Shedeur Sanders wants to play. He's not disinterested. He's not detached. He's frustrated because he's ready. And honestly, isn't that exactly what you want from your young quarterback? This is the part that gets lost in the noise. We live in an NFL world where every facial expression becomes a debate show topic. And now Shedeur Sanders' hunger to get on the field is being spun as disrespectful. Let's be real, if he was yucking it up while Flacco was getting shredded, you'd say he doesn't care. If he looks focused and angry, you say he's pouting. Either way, he can't win. And that brings us to the real question hanging over Cleveland right now. How long can Kevin Stefanski keep running Joe Flacco out there when this offense is averaging under 17 points a game? When the defense is holding teams in check, but the offense is dragging them into the basement. Look, I get it. Flacco's comeback story was sweet 2 years ago. He had that moment, that magical run. But this isn't 2017 Joe Flacco. Against Detroit, he posted a passer rating of 39.3. That's not just bad, that's historically bad. It's his lowest since Week 3 of 2017. And Cleveland has now gone 9 straight games scoring 17 points or less. That's the longest active streak in the NFL. How do you look at that and say, yeah, let's keep things exactly the same? At some point, Stefanski has to make a move. And that's where the debate heats up, Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. Now here's where it gets spicy. Rich Eisen laid it out. If either Gabriel or Shedeur gets the nod, and if either of them starts winning games, stacking WS instead of dropping 3 out of 4, you're going to look back at this draft class and say, well done, Cleveland. Well done. Because let's not forget, the Browns nailed some of these picks. Quinshon Judkins? Mason Graham? Already flashing big-time potential. Even Hunter, who isn't filling the stat sheet, is still impacting games on defense. So the pieces are there. The question is, do you trust a 39-year-old Joe Flacco to guide this offense? Or do you hand the keys to one of the rookies, Gabriel with his quick release and gamer mentality, or Shedeur Sanders with that ice in his veins poise and pedigree? And listen, let's circle back to Shedeur. People saying, well, he's just a third stringer. What's he supposed to do? That's exactly the point. He's buried on the depth chart, and yet, his presence on the sideline is generating this much heat. That tells you something about the energy around him. He's not just another rookie. He's a story. He's a headline. And whether people want to admit it or not, he's the guy fans are watching even when he's not on the field. But here's the twist. Cleveland's next game isn't just another Sunday. They're heading to London. They're the home team, but they've got the longest trip of any squad that weekend. Minnesota's basically hopping over from Ireland. Meanwhile, the Browns are crossing the Atlantic with questions swirling around their quarterback room. And right now, the most likely matchup? Carson Wentz versus Joe Flacco. Does that inspire confidence in anybody? Audience, I've got to ask you, would you rather roll into London with Joe Flacco under center, hoping he somehow finds the fountain of youth? Or would you throw Shedeur Sanders into the fire and see what the kid can do? Would you risk going 1-4 with the safe, veteran, or gamble on upside and maybe shock the league? Because make no mistake, 1-4 could bury this team. This isn't just about quarterback play. This is about identity. This is about whether Cleveland is content with mediocrity or ready to gamble on greatness. The thing about Shedeur is, he looks angry because he's hungry. Rich Eisen said it perfectly. It's not like he looked disinterested. He looked pissed off. And isn't that what you want in a competitor? This is the same kid who came out of Colorado with all the spotlight in the world, with the target on his back every single week, and he delivered. He's dealt with pressure his whole life. And now you're telling me he can't handle stepping into an NFL huddle when his team needs a spark? It feels like the Browns are wasting time here. Wasting the momentum of a strong draft class. Wasting a defense that's playing lights out. Wasting opportunities because they're too scared to make a change. And all the while, Shedeur Sanders is standing there, helmet in hand, waiting for someone to believe in him.
But he's got the lowest, he just came with his lowest passer rating, Flacco, since week 3 of 2017.
Yikes.
A 39.3 passer rating. Cleveland scored 17 points or less in 9 straight games. That's the longest streak in the NFL. I don't know. Again, this is what Stefanski's going to have to make a decision on here. I think they had hoped that the Flacco that won comeback player of the year a couple of years ago in the system was the one that was going to show up in the first few weeks of the season. Cleveland's next game is in London. And by the way, they're the home team, but they're traveling the longest because Minnesota, all they have to do is hop a flight from Ireland. They're probably already there. So you'll see that game on NFL Network. Pretty big one. You don't want to go to 1-4. Wentz versus Flacco is what it looks like right now. But seriously, is Shedeur just supposed to stand there?
Yeah. It's like, what do they want him to do?
I don't know. It's not like he looked disinterested. He looked pissed off.
Exactly. Wants to play.
Oh, you're losing?
So here's where the decision gets real. Flacco just put up his lowest rating in 6 years. The offense has been stuck in neutral for months. And now, Stefanski has to decide, is this season about loyalty to a veteran or about building something sustainable? Do you keep praying for a comeback that isn't coming, or do you turn to the future before it's too late? Let's be honest, Dillon Gabriel might be safer. He's polished, accurate, steady. But Shedeur Sanders? He's the wild card. He's the one who could ignite not just the offense, but the entire city. That's why every sideline shot, every stare, every headset adjustment makes news. Because fans are waiting. And they're ready. But let me throw this back to you, Cleveland fans. If Shedeur Sanders had been smiling and laughing while Flacco was getting crushed, what would you be saying today? Wouldn't you be killing him for not caring? For not respecting the moment? That's the hypocrisy of this whole thing. The kid literally can't win. And yet, maybe that's exactly why he should be given the ball. Because no matter what he does, he's already being judged like a starting quarterback. And if you're being judged like a starter, maybe it's time you become one. The Browns don't have a quarterback controversy, they have a quarterback crisis. And the only way out is to take a risk. Let's break this down. The Browns didn't just stumble into this situation. They created it. They hitched their wagon to Joe Flacco, hoping the magic of his comeback player of the year run would still be there. They thought the veteran presence, the calm demeanor, the steady hand would stabilize a young roster. And for a moment, you can understand it. After all, Flacco has been around the block. He's won a Super Bowl. He knows how to command a huddle. But what happens when experience doesn't translate into production? What happens when your steady hand keeps delivering games with 17 points or less? At what point does leadership without results just become wasted snaps? That's where the Browns stand today, staring at a decision that could shape not just this season, but the next decade. Let's talk Dillon Gabriel. This kid came in with questions: arm strength, size, the jump from Oklahoma's system to the NFL. But he's accurate. He's efficient. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. If Stefanski wants to ease into a rookie experiment without going full fireworks, Gabriel might be the guy. A safer choice. A bridge. But let's not kid ourselves. The excitement? The spotlight? The juice? That's all around Shedeur Sanders. Because Shedeur isn't just a quarterback. He's a storyline. He's the son of Deion Sanders, one of the most magnetic personalities in football history. He's been under pressure since high school. He's been playing under the brightest lights since Colorado. And through it all, he's shown poise, confidence, and yes, swagger. So when cameras catch him on the sideline, looking locked in, looking frustrated, people don't see just another rookie. They see the possibility of the next star. Shedeur fans, I want to hear from you. Do you believe Kevin Stefanski is protecting Shedeur by keeping him off the field, letting him learn quietly? Or is he holding the team back by being too cautious, too loyal to Flacco? Cleveland has the defense to win now, the draft class to build momentum, and a quarterback room begging for change. The only thing missing is courage. And that's what this comes down to. Courage. Stefanski has to decide whether to trust his gut or his fear. Does he fear throwing Shedeur into the fire too early, risking mistakes, risking growing pains? Or does he trust that sometimes the only way to grow is to play? Think about the history of this league. How many great quarterbacks were doubted before their first start? How many times did coaches hesitate, only to realize later that they wasted games waiting for the perfect moment? There is no perfect moment. There's only the chance you take, or the chance you don't. Meanwhile, let's not ignore the other side of this. Cleveland's defense has been lights out. The Hunter trade may not look sexy on the stat sheet, but watch the film. He's impacting plays. He's opening lanes. He's forcing quarterbacks to adjust. And Mason Graham? Already looks like a steal. Quinshon Judkins? That kid runs with purpose, with violence, with a chip on his shoulder. This defense is doing its job. The supporting cast is ready. The problem is under center. And that's what makes it so painful. Because how many times have we seen this story? A great defense wasted. A promising roster wasted. All because the offense couldn't score enough points. All because the coach wouldn't make the move when it mattered. Would you rather see Shedeur Sanders take lumps now, learning on the fly, or keep watching Joe Flacco put up 39 passer ratings and drag the season into the dirt? Be honest. Because if you're Stefanski, you can't dodge that answer much longer. Let me paint the picture. The Browns fly into London, 1-3, clinging to hope. They're lining up against Carson Wentz and the Minnesota Vikings. And who trots out to start? That's why this decision matters so much. This isn't just about choosing between Flacco, Gabriel, and Sanders. This is about sending a message to the entire franchise. Are we here to compete today, or are we stuck in the past? And think about this irony. Shedeur Sanders is already being criticized for how he looks on the sideline before he's even thrown a pass in the NFL. That tells you all you need to know. The spotlight's already on him. The judgment's already here. The debate is already raging. So why keep pretending he's invisible? Why keep acting like he's just another rookie learning in the shadows? He's already in the conversation. Put him on the field and let his play do the talking. Let me ask again. If Shedeur Sanders takes the field in London and throws 2 touchdowns but also 2 interceptions, would you call that a failure, or would you call it progress? Because I'll tell you this, a 39 passer rating from Joe Flacco isn't progress. It's regression. Sometimes you don't protect greatness by hiding it, you unlock greatness by trusting it. And so the Cleveland Browns stand at a crossroads. Do they cling to a past glory, hoping Joe Flacco magically reverses time? Do they play it safe with Dylan Gabriel, steady but unspectacular? Or do they unleash the wild card, the hungry rookie with the glare that says, "Put me in, coach. I'm ready." We know what the defense is. We know what Judkins can be. We know this draft class might be a turning point. But the only way this all comes together is if the quarterback changes. So maybe, just maybe, the time has already come. Maybe Shedeur Sanders is exactly what the Browns need. Not next year, not down the line, but right now. Because when your team is drowning, You don't wait for tomorrow. You act today. And that, Cleveland, is the truth no one wants to admit. This season doesn't have to be lost. But if Joe Flacco stays the starter, it already is. The question isn't if Shedeur Sanders will start. The question is how many games the Browns will waste before it finally happens. And with that, Browns fans, NFL fans, football junkies, I'll leave it to you. Should Stefanski rip the Band-Aid off and hand the keys to Shedeur? Or keep clinging to Joe Flacco, knowing deep down it's only a matter of time before the future takes over? Drop your answers in the comments below. This has been Gridiron Insights. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NFL drama, and stay locked in with us as we cover every controversy, every quarterback battle, and every story that